all foods are not created equal. And some have very high environmental impacts, some have very low environmental impacts. I already hinted to it. And there was a study by the World Resource Institute, I can give you the reference about it, and I decided not to do PowerPoints, but anyway, the differences are staggering, and the worst is, for example, you know, the beef, you see, and then some of the best are the legumes, you know, what you had in your, you know, these you know, peas and beans and etc. So this is an amazing opportunity, you see, because, I just gave you examples of two types of food that are providing protein. So moving from animal-based protein to plant-based protein is amazing as an opportunity. You see, that's why you have these burgers that are plant-based burgers, okay? So this is amazing. It has huge implications if you are thinking about the billions of people that are eating every day, you see. And the environmental benefits that can be derived from transitioning are huge. I'm going to give you some highlights of the kind of things that can happen with such a transition, you see. Reduction in farmed lands. You would need much fewer lands to feed humanity, essentially. So you can probably reduce farmlands by 50%. Okay? At least, at the very least. You can convert farmlands, conventional farmlands, into organic agriculture. You can do a more extensive but more environmentally benign agriculture by having more lands available if you produce the plant-based foods. You can convert some of the lands back to forest. Now, both forest and plant-based foods, especially legumes, etc., especially if it's organic, have that virtue of storing a lot of carbon. So you can essentially rebuild carbon sinks and fight against climate change. You can also transition towards very high nutritious crops. Now we have a good knowledge about what is nutritious and what is less nutritious. You know, two types of salads can be very, very different in terms of nutrition content. So we can really orient the production towards very highly nutritious foods. We can go towards very affordable foods. You know, lentils, beans, etc. are very affordable. So they can help not only to help poor people, but in our countries, but it's also a very effective tool for fighting against world hunger, you see, and world inequality. You can, of course, reduce dramatically the current slaughter of animals. You know, we are talking about billions just in North America a year that are being slaughtered for feeding people. You know, every time you eat some chicken or whatever, you see, this is death in your plate, and this is big time, you see. So we are overproducing, over-consuming that, but we can reduce the slaughter, you see. We can reduce the massive pollution that is associated with animal farms, as you know. The pork, you know, all these units are very, very, very polluting. You have outbreaks like listeria, etc. And when you have listeria in spinach, it doesn't come from the spinach typically. It's linked to the fertilizer, the animal-based fertilizer that has been used. So you have this tropical forests. I worked 10 years on world forestry, tropical forests. You see, a lot of the deforestation you can see in a place like the Amazon is to convert to farmlands or to pastures. So the big driving force towards tropical deforestation is that. So this would slow down the process, which is of course linked to biodiversity. And more generally speaking, all the habitats of the planet could be much better preserved if there is less pressure from agriculture. Agriculture, which is mostly feeding animals for our consumption habits. Antibiotics. Have you heard about the spread of antibiotic resistant bugs. Why? Because antibiotics are largely used in the animal industry. Exactly the same antibiotics we are using on humans. There is a huge issue there. And I can speak about viral outbreaks. You see these issues of Spanish flu, type of outbreaks that are all linked to swine, the swine-flu, bird flu. All of this is linked to our overproduction of animal food. So, in short, to conclude, my reading is that there is a huge opportunity to move towards plant-based diets. And it can be done at the individual level, it can be done at the collective level. And it's really, in the long term, it's going to be a win-win for everyone. Some industries will have to adapt, some industries will have to disappear. But everybody needs to be fed. World population is growing, so there will always be a food industry, and there will always be people, consuming food. So this is basically my vision, and I think you may use this presentation as a kind of food for thought in terms of thinking where you want to stand, you see, in your life, in your professional life, how you want to orient your career, because this is essentially a food revolution that has to be made. It requires a lot of people, and it's really a matter of being on the right side of history or maintaining the status quo, which is going to be unsustainable anymore.
All right, thank you very much. This was brought to you by ACES.